sweet.
We were talking before,
So
weren't
what's
we? Sorry, go on.
go on. Uh,
We were talking
You
before, weren't
go.
we, about
I'm used to leading my thing. You go. You go. I'm gonna shut up.
yeah. No, we were talking before, weren't we, about doing something, well, like having a chat while playing Warzone. But I was thinking the other day, I was like, I get way too stressed playing Warzone to be able to talk about anything else.
Don't get me started, man. Like it's the idea is to sort of naturally flow, and we're like, okay, shit, this is happening here, this, that, and the other. But again, it's not that composed or that eloquent.
Yeah,
I'd be furious. It wouldn't be that sort of, like Hot Ones. That's the kind of feel I wanted for it, like a sort of, a bit under pressure, but we're kind of like still chatting the same kind of theme. It won't be that nice, I
yeah,
don't think. It'd be a lot
yeah,
more. The fuck was that?
yeah.
Proper tone switches.
Way too much swearing. We end up falling out. So,
Everyone goes off in tears.
yeah. Nah.
So what's the
Anyway,
plan for
man.
today? What do you want to do? Yeah, all good, man. All good.
We're both
Always
like trying
good.
to lead it, aren't we?
You lead. I'll just try to guess it as best I can. I can't. I can't. I was trying to settle. It's all good. It's all good. That's fine.
I wanted to ask you just like pretty basic question, but how did you get started in the sport? Like, where did your interest begin for you to then start wanting to train yourself and compete?
So I started when the Ice Bucket Challenge was a thing. So what's that, like 6 years ago, 7 years ago? From sort of there onwards, it's been just pretty consistent. But initially, starting MMA was never really a plan. It was on my radar that it existed. My brother went to our local MMA gym at the time, was Rising Crane, and they had a fighting fit, like boxer size style, like MMA variant class. So there I was, plodded along, got stuck in with that. I thought, this is fun. I like exercise, but I was smoking and just a bit like, it was a very hobby sort of thing for me at that time. And then taking it a bit more seriously, actually going to MMA classes, again, just getting stuck in with it. And that was living in Bedford. And then I moved over to Northampton. I'm not sure whereabouts you're from, but again, I'm about half an hour distance from one another. And then I moved over to Northampton for January this year, so I could train full time without any kind of stress regards of family and Corona and this, that, and the other. So here we are now in 2021 and starting in 2014, I think. But yeah, doing all right. We're getting there.
Yeah. How did you sort of first learn about MMA then to sort of want to begin? I mean, when did your attention for MMA begin?
So even then, like, again, knowing, I didn't even know what MMA was. It said you see people fighting in a cage, you think it's cage fighting, and as the casuals say it, that's kind of how I saw it. It was just people fighting, and even then, it wasn't so much I wanted to do it. It was seeing it and thinking, shit, if I'm in that position, I need to get the fuck out of it. It was more of a defensive thing. Like, I'm not sure if you've trained yourself, but again, when you're rolling with people, you're like, okay, I've got manhandled. Like, if you see that as, oh shit, I'm never gonna let that happen again. I'm not gonna train again. That to me is so stupid. It's like, shit,
Yeah.
you could just be so controlled and so dominant. That's terrifying. I never want that to happen to me again. Still
Yeah.
happens. Obviously, you get levels and stuff, but
Mm.
it's happening a lot less than it used to. But still, even that's too many times.
Yeah. So it's more of like a self-defense thing.
Yeah, definitely more of an awareness sort of thing of what's going on. But yeah, God.
Yeah. What sort of what's your drive then for training, for competing? Every single, every time you do go up and train, what's your motivation for that?
So, well, I'm going to basically reword that question, because motivation to me is just a nice little caveat. It's the coffee to get you out of the bed as such. It's the discipline that gets you up in the first place. My training and my consistency is discipline. Like, again, I'm the sort of guy who'll take the piss at myself a bit and have a little laugh, but ultimately it's discipline. When it comes to training in general, prior to getting the consistency I've got now, it's been, I want to get stuck in, I want to do a bit of everything, I just want to do everything all the time. Then you learn to sort of rein it in and then restructure things. Okay, I need to do conditioning here, go hard this session, and so on and so forth. And I'm still calibrating that, but a lot of it is just complete discipline, and most of it is there's purpose behind sessions. So if you talk about conditioning sessions, I much like Cowboy Cerrone, much like most people, the idea of gassing in a fight scares the life out of me. I've gassed in my debut, and I'm not letting that happen ever again. So those sessions, I call it fear, call it what we want. I know why these are important. So that's what a lot of it is. It's discipline to be consistent with the structure, but ultimately understanding the reason behind it, because otherwise
Mm.
it'll bite you in the ass and you will know about it.
I think I had like Chael talking, Chael Sonnen talking about it before, about how once like being the most tired he's ever been or something in a wrestling session, and just being like, I never ever want to feel that way ever again, and like that being something that drives him to.
Definitely, definitely. Because again, like it's all well and good in the gym. You're like, oh, now I'll take this round off. I'll have a rest one. I'll get a drink. It's fine. I could say I'm a bit ill, or if you're sparring, I need to adjust my gloves and just this. Nah, you ain't got that leeway in a fight. You haven't got that space to play around with. And again, as much as like whenever I say these sort of things, this is from someone who wants to compete, someone who wants to take this as seriously as possible. If you're a hobbyist and you get a bit tired, I wouldn't lose any sleep over it. Just have fun. Again, it's horses for courses. So try not to take everything I say as gospel for one size fits all. This is what I'm perceiving this as. This is how I'm currently learning in certain things. But again, don't feel the need for everyone to train as much as myself and other people do.
Yeah.
Caveat.
After your first two losses, was there ever any second where you thought, just this isn't for me?
That's every day, man. Like,
I didn't mean that to sound like an insult if it came across like that.
that was a cuss, but that's fine. I took it to heart. Don't worry, man. I'm going to cry afterwards.
Yeah.
So when it comes to preparation for the fights, my first round of my first fight camp, Jordan dropped me like a sack of shit. And if that doesn't like build your confidence, I don't know what will. That's wonderful. There's a scenario for you. There you are. You got your fight confirmed. Fantastic.
Yeah.
You know what? Feeling fresh. Work was all right today. Got my gloves. I'm ready for some rounds. I'm there with Jordan, hitting some back and forth. Okay, cool. He clips me, turns my head, and across behind the ear, and I just go lump down. I think, okay, that's a good start. Got to be a lump in my face as well. I thought, okay, this is fucking quality. Cage Warriors featherweight champion Jordan Buchanan fucking drops like a potato.
That's such high level training partners there.
Yeah, it's a blessing and a curse. But so, regards to the competition in the moment, so if you watch my debut fight, you'll see the triangle is inch close, and again, the mistakes and other things I made in that fight. But ultimately, a very competitive fight, but underperformed to what I would like to, but not a dreadful fight. So there we are. I'm thinking, okay, first fight, didn't get the result, but I feel disappointed, but still like I got the nod. I feel like, you know what, that's a good experience. Second fight after quite a long layoff, just for confidence and everything else, just building back up. CJ Buchanan, a guy I don't know, I've seen a few of his fights, just quite athletic and a bit sort of unorthodox, I think that's a polite word, but yeah. So I think, okay, he's a very beatable opponent stylistically. I could just, close that space, take him down, happy days. But again, with that being, I don't know, a bit tentative, but again, it wasn't a dreadful performance, but getting knocked out, getting clipped by that, it was more, I always explain it as blue balls. I was prepared for a fight, prepared for a massive everything, to get exhausted, to get all this sort of shit, to then get clipped early. Again, the lights went out. Like, I'm not going to pretend he didn't knock me out, but it wasn't that bad as such. People say it was the scariest thing ever seen. As far as I'm concerned, that fight ended at some point, and then I found out I lost it, and that was the end of that.
Yeah.
I wasn't that upset by it, but it's just frustration. Because ultimately, if your perspective is you want to compete at amateur and that's all you want to do, those losses, again, I'm saying this very trivially, like they're not big things, but in the grand scheme of things, they're completely irrelevant. They're completely, like, the experiences are very important, but it doesn't matter. Like my last fight against Paul McManus, when I won, that was my most embarrassing performance of my whole career. Like I said, career. I just, because again, it's being reluctant, very trigger shy. Again, coming for a knockout loss, you'd imagine if you watch Jamie Richardson, you see Ken Kapanen as well. Very similar kind of thing. Obviously, a lot better, a lot more a higher level, but more the same premise of staying on the outside, throwing low risk shots, and then trying to edge a decision, or at least trying to not get caught again. Is that kind of thing. And ideally, I just want to stay active and get the experience in. So, regards to quitting, obviously that runs through your mind all the time whenever you're under stress, under pressure, when things are a bit too hard, when you're feeling beaten up. But collectively, it's not the point. And for me, regards of sticking with it and longevity and careers, I'm not going to put my dream in well, this can be a few things. My plans, my dream is a specific thing of UFC, Cage Warriors, or whatever. That's not me. My dream is each fight, there's another layer of who I am. Again, answering these horrible questions of why am I doing this? Because again, my answer will change through camp to camp as to who I am at which stage. But going through that process and developing myself, That's what I'm doing it for. The fact it's a step in competition and my abilities will step up is just part of the process, and then collectively start increasing the platform. Ideally, Cage Warriors. From that point onwards, we'll see where we go. UFC, Bellators, who knows? But right now, it's just not. Each day is its own day. Give that my full attention, full energy, and then just keep them incrementally growing. Does that make sense? That was a long answer to a short question.
No, yeah, yeah, no, yeah, no, it does, mate. It's one of the things that interests me the most. Like, find out what drives fighters, and because like anyone can. A lot of people obviously go to work every day, live their lives, but then to finish work and then think, I want to go training. I want to, I mean, you don't have. No one's making you do that. You don't have to do that. And obviously, it's a big undertaking getting into a cage with another person. I think to fight them, just finding out what drives people to do that after they've been at work all day. It's just something that interests me quite a bit.
Well, again, it's the whole discipline. It's everything else along with, if you want it, you'll find a reason. If you don't, you find an excuse. And again, like, if I tell people that I've got a full-time 9 to 5 job, I have a session with Adam most mornings at 6:30, and then in the evening I got training at VST from like 7 till like 9. I think, why the fuck would you do that? I think that's just a Tuesday. You know what I mean? It's not that weird to me, because I want it to work, and this is how I'm going to make it work. For people who don't train and compete, or don't want to train and compete, it's unheard of, but they don't have to hear it. I'm the one who has to hear it, because I'm the one who has to do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. Taking it back a little bit, you said about the McManus fight earlier. You said it's your most embarrassing performance, but I did think he had quite a different style, one that would be like obviously his hands were quite low. He was quite a different style. You'd have struggled to train for, I thought.
That's a very, very polite way of wording that question. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
So I'll give it a very polite answer as well. So Paul McManus is someone very hard to look good against. And I didn't even consider this premise until I spoke to Antonio Luca and a few other guys who have been quite familiar with the battle arena sort of circuit. So on surface value, you see him, you think, okay, the knee's turned inwards, you can chop that to pieces, no problem. You think, okay, he's just going to sort of slowly walk towards you, and you just keep chopping him, and eventually he'll stop coming towards you. However, what I found really strange was to gauge his range. That was where I struggled in that fight quite a lot, because again, he'd either be really close in, or he'd be just that bit too further out. So to try and gauge that, to sort of gauge my jabs, gauge my low kicks, gauge everything, was always a bit of a frustrating one. So not being able to get things going because of that was also frustrating. And obviously the ambiguity of who actually won that fight, who wins a split decision, and what makes that difference. And again, some people made a case for him winning that fight, and I was insulted by that, because although I didn't perform well, I still won that fight. Again, head kick in the second, takedown in the third. If it was an uneventful fight, those are some highlights in there in my favor. So,
yeah,
you know what I mean? It wasn't amazing. I won't tell people too much about it. But again, it's a very important moment, not just because of the actual win itself, but what the win felt like versus expectation. Because again, when you're on a win never feels as good as a loss stings. Like, it's nowhere near the same. Obviously, watching Jordan win last night is a different stage and world entirely. But the lows of losing the first two versus the euphoria for the fraction of a second of getting my hand raised is incomparable. And that's what started all the reading and all the philosophy and the rest of it. Because again, it's very ambiguous. So it's so hard to try to find value in just that. Am I doing it all for that quick flash in the pan feeling of, look, I won, I got a new picture on Facebook? Or what is it for? You know what I mean?
Yeah. What philosophy does interest you then, that aspect of the sport?
So when it comes to learning things, especially things that are ambiguous and very open-ended, like MMA is and so is jiu-jitsu, you'll hear a lot of people answering questions in a very conceptual way. They'll explain it through a story. They'll give you a premise you already understand. And it's more the way it's explained and the way you get your answers and the way you start to articulate things you understand. Because again, you can say A goes to B to C to D, and then if B doesn't work, go straight to D, or so on and so forth. But even then, that's a system of doing it. And it's not so much the final answer, but it's the questions being asked and the ways to look at things differently. So regards of, excuse me. So there's different ways philosophy has influenced this. So you get, obviously, stoicism. It's the way you can manage your own mental side of things. It's the application. It's things you can and can't control. And again, it's how you then manage certain things there. Like, what do I focus on? Okay, what can I focus on? Do I worry about what they're doing? Do I worry about what I'm doing? Do I worry about things I'm doing differently, things I could change, things I can move around? Do I worry about things that are set in stone, like class times? You know what I mean? So that sort of stuff. Again, the existentialism and things like that are kind of irrelevant. Like, am I hitting him or is he hitting me? Well, I don't give a shit about that. It's completely pointless. But more the open-mindedness and perspectives. So I'm not going to quote certain philosophers as such, but it's more how could someone else see this? And a lot of this is like the Carl Jung, Joseph Campbell things about identity and the stories we tell ourselves. I am a striker. There go my grappling and shit. I am a grappler. Ergo, I'm not a striker. I'm just going to clinch up and do this, that, and the other. You make your own biases. You create these own structures. And again, like myself, used to have a very prominent victim mentality. I'd go in the gym as quote unquote low level down and just be the guy who made the butt of the jokes, not really the one who's known for giving anyone any trouble. But then addressing that and addressing a lot of things in myself, I don't get called that anymore. I don't accept it anymore. I don't carry myself in that way anymore. And I don't perform the way I used to do anymore. And this is a very proactive way of doing these things. Because again, when I talk about stoicism, talk about this sort of self-development stuff, they're very raw and they're very honest. And again, I am my harshest critic, but also my biggest fan. But you didn't used to have the fan part. And you need that kind of balance. Otherwise, you just take yourself to pieces. And that's if you care in the slightest to even have those questions. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I know very little about philosophy, but is that sort of self-sabotage and like thinking to yourself, I'm not, just thinking I'm not going to win this fight, so it's
Oh,
not
100%.
100% being in it.
Self-sabotage has been the biggest thing in my career. And just in general, I say career very loosely because the term doesn't really mean much to me. I don't see it as a job. It's just something I've been doing for a long time and I love it. It's passion. But the time training, again, it's very much like, okay, under pressure and competitions, jiu-jitsu, MMA or whatever it is. If you think in your head, shit, okay, maybe I haven't done enough of this, maybe I haven't done that. Or what if he gets me in this? Oh shit, if he has that, he looks strong, he looks big. I'm thinking, why am I thinking these things? We're the same weight division. Whether or not he looks bigger, this, that, and the other, we're the same weight. And like obviously a strength deficits, but my triangle still works, whether or not he's bigger and stronger or whatever else. If I've got it locked up, that's it. If I've got the arm bars locked up, that's it. If I've got top position, I've got points. These things are set in stone. And if you're in a bad position and then your head goes like mine used to go all the time of shit, he's got me, this is it. It's not if, it's when. And like, you know what? It's like, get me out of it. I can't face it. Like a sort of panic attack kind of thing. And even then, it confirms the negative thoughts in your head. So if you're under pressure and you start getting like tagged a little bit, or you get jabbed with a shot that isn't that bad, it will sort of really take you back and it snowballs and you can really get carried away with it. It's a very prominent thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I find that part quite interesting. What was your motivation behind starting your podcast then last year?
So you know how you listen to podcasts like the Joe Rogans, Dan Strauss's, and so on and so forth, and they'll get on people you don't give a shit about.
Yeah.
Is that I like the questions, I like the conversations, I like the format a lot. I like the way you can pick someone's brain. I like how it's not an interview. I've never done an interview in my life. I've got 250 conversations on my Spotify, on my YouTube and everything else.
Yeah.
Not one of them is an interview. So that's the format I love. What I also love in this is the people who
the very casual stuff. The very casual stuff, like it's just a conversation between two people.
Well, it's not so much just that, but it's more why I'm asking it and the place it's coming from. So say if you get on UFC Fighter Joe Vlogs, why not? You get clips there. It's all for purely views, everything else. Yes, that is definitely something that's on the radar. However, my conversation isn't to try to capture them at their low. It's try to explain them, help them explain why they are as interesting and unique as they are, why they've achieved what they have, pick their brains, give them a platform. Like I've had people on who aren't that confidently speaking, literally just cocked that myself, articulate. People who aren't that articulate, people who aren't that open about saying certain things. And again, a lot of people who are preferably keep themselves to themselves, they do well. They don't brag about it, but they're respected. They're the people who don't blow their own trumpet. That's what I'm there for, blowing their trumpet for them. So to speak, despite what you've heard. But on top of that, anyway, it's the people I wanted to speak to about things I cared about, and whether or not it's higher profile people or it's lower profile people, if they're beginners, they're UFC fighters, whoever they are. I will show the same level of interest, the same level of everything if the conversation flows. If I can chat to them, I don't care if they're like, if they're big in the UFC, they're prominent, but if I can't get two words together with them that doesn't flow, it doesn't gel. I've had people on who haven't had any fights at all, and they've just been fantastic conversations.
Yeah.
So again, in regards of growing it, it's not necessarily been a thought out plan from the word go. It's been something you'd like to do. And you know, those sort of pub conversations of, oh, if I had one, I'd do this. Always just chats all the time and so on and so forth. But
Yeah.
incremental growth. I started a podcast because I wanted to find out if I could do it. Started doing it, enjoyed it, and now started releasing like merchandise and growing things step by step. And again, there's a lot of plans in the mix,
Yeah.
but most of it is a passion project. The entire thing comes from passion. It's I love the sport, I love the questions I'm asking, and most of them, if I'm perfectly honest, are for me.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, I think I'm sort of similar because I've got like, I don't know if it sounds a bit corny or cheesy, but I've got like a lot of respect for all the all the people I've spoken to and had on. So I sort of just want to hear what they've got to say, if you know what I mean. Like, saying like talking to them about what drives them and stuff, but that as well. But just want to just want to hear what they've got to say because obviously got a lot of respect for them and everything they do because I think it's a big thing to. It is a big thing to do. I think you were sort of like downplaying it a little bit yourself, just saying, "Oh, it's not a career. It's just something I do." But I think it is. You know what I mean? To go out and fight in a cage with people watching, like, yeah, I think that is like a big thing to do, and yeah, talk about it.
definitely. I mean, this is what that's for, and this is something I've made a post from. I think my episode with was it Teddy? Who was it? It was Josh Neal. I think it was Josh Neal. But anyway, it's just a common theme of respecting what competition means. If you think, "Do you know, I'd have him, or I'd do this, that, and the other," these sort of speculation conversations you'll hear a lot. Like, if I committed all my eggs in this one basket, I'd do well as well. I said, all right, do it. Sacrifice everything for one thing. See if you have the bottle to do that first, let alone even step in there and put that on the line.
Yeah.
Because again, fuck, it is raw. Because you think, so a bit of an insight. You see my social media, you think, okay, he trains all the time, does whatever else.
Yeah.
In my head, that then gives another layer of something to represent. I've got my purple belt as of December, the worst kept secret in jiu-jitsu. Because I love it. I love telling everyone it's fantastic. But anyway, the point is like something like that. Okay, there's now a nice purple X on my head. There's also MMA fights. So now if I have a competition, anyone's an Instagram stalk, they're expecting a certain standard. I know my standard. My standard is above what I'm portraying. But when I don't show up, I really don't show up, and it really gets in my head. So now this is where it comes to being able to manage these things. And this is why these conversations get even more prominent. Because how frustrating would it be? So I'll give you a very trivial example. You go on a tear on Warzone, you're getting dubs on dubs on dubs in solos.
Yeah,
and your mates,
mate, every session.
You know what I mean? You can't take, I'm unstoppable. Sign me up. But you do a quads with your friends and you just get spanked straight away. You look like you're shit. Like you never played before. You think, okay, this isn't me. This isn't me. This isn't representing who I am. You know, they think you might be shit at that point. You know you're not. And it's a very hard one to sort of explain to people saying, I'm not this shit. This isn't who I am. And this is a huge thing for me from the word go is like, yes, I am nice. Yes, I'm not going to knock out the beginners, but I'm not shit. I'm not a pussy. I'm not a coward. I am a game as anyone else.
Yeah.
I want this as much as anyone else, if not more. I'm doing things what people aren't doing. And as much as I'll be very flippant, very whatever else, this is a passion. This isn't a hobby.
Yeah. I think it's that sort of thing where like it's that having that own sort of belief in yourself where people can tell you as much as they want about you, about what they think about you, but only you know who you are, what you're capable of. And as long as you maintain that, then nothing outside of that can affect you. You know what I mean?
Well, this
what
is
you're saying.
a testament. Very sorry, I thought you finished, but a very, very simple example of this. Your name is Joe. I tell you your name isn't Joe. You're like, well, it is.
Yeah.
No, it's not. You're like, well, it's not. Your name's Dan as well. So, no, it's not. And again, you're being misrepresented. You pass lie detector. No, my name's Joe. So no, we don't think it is. Well, it is. Whether you like it or not. See what I mean? It's that sort of thing. It's for you. It's so clear and so on the wall that this is who I am. This is what I'm capable of. And it's like, why do you not see what I'm seeing literally in front of me now? Sorry, as you were saying.
Yeah. No, I was saying. I was saying before about listening to what people have to say. like we've obviously spoken a little bit before this, but I had no idea that you all like as well as this work a 9 to 5 job. Something just it's just something I didn't know about you that now I do.
Yeah, as I say, there's a few things with this. So obviously working full time, training full time, podcasting pretty much full time, depending on schedules and stuff. It's the same thing again. If you want it, you make it work. Working a full time job away from training is just a nice, safe earner. People who train full time will know they're peanuts. Like, I'm not going to go into detail, but some of my friends who have fought on cage wars, you'd be insulted by the amount they get. You'd be
Yeah,
disgusted by it.
yeah,
Same with other promotions, well, not just cage warriors, but again, it's not very livable for what they get from that. Obviously, sponsor support, people can make things more doable, but
I think even at UFC, some of the fighters get paid very little, don't they?
and as much as like I want to side with fighters saying yeah we should all get paid loads of money, it's the same conversation of nurses and footballers and the rest of it saying you won't see X amount of people watching a surgery in the clinic, but you'll see them all watching the football every weekend.
Yeah,
There's not the money in the business to then give them that income.
yeah,
So this is why with me having this career, quote unquote, that just pays the bills to keep my training going.
yeah,
I purely work just to keep my lifestyle as it is, regards to training and everything else, because it's an office job, not a labouring sort of thing. There's stress and then there's stress. Like you can't tell me you're stressed from working in an office when I've been my head punched in by Jordan
mm,
Vichenic or whoever else. Like, give me a.
yeah,
I'm trying to listen and trying to empathize, but all I can hear is the world's smallest violin of, oh, it was a really tough day. Someone said something nasty to me. All right, cool.
yeah. So it puts it all in
Where?
like a lot of stuff in comparison, I suppose.
Exactly that. It's like, where? Oh,
Yeah.
I tell you what, you do that, or do you want Raymond Paul shouting your wrist and get the fuck back up, Dan? you tell me which one's more stressful. I'll give you a very clear answer very quickly.
Yeah. No, it's like I said before. I had my job's in construction, so we say. So it's like this outside job. Like obviously, a lot of working hard, like labor. But like I was talking to like Tom Mearns before, for an example. I think he does roofing
He
full
does, yes.
time as well. I'm sorry if I've got that wrong, Tom. But yeah, like that's obviously a hard job to do. And then I was saying about I think going after that to train every single day. It's what I was saying about back before about having a lot of respect for these people. That's a hard thing to do. Like if you worked hard all day doing that and then just wanted to sit and watch Netflix all night, then that's fair enough. Like, yeah, I mean, you've been working hard all day, go for it, mate. But like to then go and fight as well, like, I think that's amazing. Like, that's why I say I've got so much respect for these people.
So with this premise, this is something I try to highlight to a lot of people who don't get it. Life is inherently meaningless in the sense of if you work full time and you've got a massive career, massive empire, or if you're just Joe blogs on the street with your mates, or if you're a massive narcissistic CNX shoes, I don't know if you swear on this or not, but there we are. They all have equal meaning to their life. The
Yeah,
fact you then do something worthwhile that helps yourself, your people around you, that gives it so much more value. And like prime example, if a kid goes to school, you don't give them a pat on the back. You think that's a done thing because you have to go. You haven't got a choice. You don't want to do it. No one makes Jordan, Tom, Podestas, whoever else get out of bed to train. They do it. They're the ones who do all the thankless stuff to get the rewards, the pain, everything. Like, again, people will sing Jordan's praises for getting the result. They'll write Tom off for getting the loss, but they don't matter in the slightest, man. Like the people themselves, like this is why I get this emotionally invested in these fights, because as much as it's not myself, like seeing what these people do voluntarily, hearing their arguments they've had with their like loved ones and their partners about making these sacrifices, everything else, and then seeing the rewards being reaped, it might as well be like the best day of my life as well as his.
yeah,
Seeing that is like being that emotionally invested in someone else and seeing them do well. Like, yeah, I put some money on it. Yeah, it's this, that, and the other. But no, not a penny crossed my mind watching that fight. It was purely for his well-being, and I'm so glad to see him get the result.
yeah,
100%.
yeah. I remember I think like Dan Hardy said before and stuff as well about just about I think it was to do with stoppages about saying just having the care for the fighter because they know who they are, they know all about them and stuff.
But this is they're people. Like whether or not
Yeah,
like so and so every fight when they get stopped, most of the time was saying, "Oh no, I wasn't out. The ref pulled it early. Oh fuck this, I want a rematch," and all this sort of stuff. The ref has no preference of who you are, how the fight should go. They just don't want anyone to leave with more damage than they should have had.
yeah,
Full stop. And like people will slag off Dan Overhead, they'll slag off Rich Mitchell, but the next weekend they'll forget about it. They don't give a
yeah,
shit. But ultimately, when you've got cut like cocky tees, you've got the damage Will Curry took. If you're in the hospital on your own with brain damage, eating food through a tube, you tell me how like the ref should have stopped it earlier, should have kept it going. You give me a conversation then.
yeah,
If you can complain, you're in a well enough state overall. Like
yeah.
well, like it or lump it, you prioritize the things that actually matter.
It's gone off on a tangent a little bit, but I hated it when Aljamain Sterling was getting so much shit online for taking, just for winning the belt after. I
Well,
hated seeing that.
he played up a bit. That's why. Because again, if he was just like, you know what, I'm hurt, I can't carry on, and they just sort of walked it off, that would have been fine. But the theatrics of I'm down, I'm hurt, and then threw the belt down, all this kind of shit, to then
Do you
just
think he
fight
was
with
acting a
it.
bit then?
It's got to sell it. Otherwise, it's a.
Yeah,
I don't know. I guess he thought he had to sell it. I guess he definitely did that.
yeah,
Like, definitely hurt, but
yeah,
only he knows. But I think we've
yeah.
all
I
got an
suppose.
idea.
I was just all the keyboard warriors online saying, "Oh, you should have carried on and stuff." It's just like, well, it's
Oh,
easy to say, isn't it?
you haven't been knee in the face by Peter, and he's fucking get knee in the face and tell him to carry on.
Yeah, yeah,
This is what I mean. These people are just, again, you get trolls. You get people who, everyone's got an opinion.
yeah,
Everyone's got a podcast. Everyone's got an opinion.
yeah. That's Twitter, though, isn't it?
It's us as well, but here we are.
Well, yeah. I was going to ask you what your favorite fight was over the last few days but it'd obviously be Jordan's one, won't it?
So that's a different conversation. Let's put Jordan to one side because obviously him and Tom, my boys, seeing them day in, day out, they're always going to be the favorite one. Regardless of performance wise, there were some fucking screamers. There were. I say put it to one side. The Morgan Charrier Jordan fight, just from a fight in itself, not emotions aside, beautiful. Most fight IQ I've seen in a cage warriors fight for a long time. The transitioning, the positional awareness, again, Jordan's awareness of the scoring priorities and certain things like that, spot on. As much as I didn't like the finish and obviously the headbutts in the Jack Cartwright fight and Sylvester Miller, I like Sylvester's way of initiating these takedowns and getting the takedowns on someone who is Team GB wrestler, knockout power Jack Cartwright. That screamed a lot to me how well he was doing there.
I don't think those headbutts were intentional, but what do you think of that?
I think it's clumsy. I think it's careless. And in a world title fight, when you're getting warmed 3 times, you can do it the 4th or 5th. So whether or not it's intentional or not, it might as well have been. The absolute standout fight for me, which has been completely underappreciated, is Matthew Elliott and Scott Pedersen. So these guys both astounding like AMI careers. And this was their pro debut. Opening fight of the entire trilogy. The exchanges, the back and forth. I think Matt Elliott is judoka. I think he's like Commonwealth, I think, or Team Ireland. But yeah, high level stuff, man.
I'm not going to pretend to have watched. Well, I watched bits of that fight, but I didn't watch all of it start to finish. I'm not gonna
That was a good fight.
Paul
Hughes and James Hendon was nice. It was a good lot of exchange there. Paul Hughes looked really good.
Yeah.
You could tell Hendon was a bit. I don't know if it was like ring rust or else, just a bit couldn't quite get going the same kind of pace, but he definitely showed up.
Yeah.
He looked good, but I don't think that was the proper James Hendon who could have been. But definitely think Paul Hughes would still win that.
I'm terrible at scoring fights. If it always goes to the if it ever goes to the judges, unless it's obvious, like I'm pretty clueless for scoring it, like because there is mainly on aggression, isn't it, and like octagon control as well.
This is where scoring is very ambiguous, and the people have got different cases for certain things. My rule of thumb is always positional. So if your back's on the floor or on the fence, you're already in a deficit. If you're striking significantly from a deficit, you kind of salvage it a bit. But until you get a stronger position, you're still on the back foot. The fight-ending moments is where scoring is. So you take Tom and Crazy Legs. Collectively, game plan for Tom with that, spot on. absolutely spot on. That is a Tom Burns we love to see. That's the best Tom Burns we've seen in a long time. It's what you do against a taller, rangier fight. You take him down, you squish, you get that pressure. But because of the guillotine being so close to fight ending in the second round, that was way more defining than anything else was in that round.
Yeah,
And the third round, again, both gassed, but Crazy Legs having his moments. So that's at least 2 rounds there. And on top of that, it's tough. Obviously, Tom's not in that weight division. He's a featherweight. And once he goes back down to featherweight, he'll do really well. But again, this is how it can be ambiguous because as much as Tom had positional control throughout most of the fight, it's that prominence and that aggression which really wins it for Crazy Legs
for
every
me, I
time.
thought just watching the fight, about going back and watching it again, I thought he'd won that second round. But it's that argument for like, see, I thought he'd won the first 4 minutes and 30 seconds of that round. But it's the argument, if because of the guillotine at the end, does that mean Yassine won it? Yeah, I'm terrible at that stuff.
Well, ultimately, it's ambiguous. And there's different ways of like prioritizing certain things. And again, you've got referee courses and judge courses to try and get a unified standard. It's still in its infancy, if we're completely honest. And everything I'm saying there is my own speculation from things I've seen, things I've got my preferences on. And again, so when you're sparring yourself, obviously not sparring yourself, you're sparring someone else. When you're sparring, in your head, sometimes a lot of people do, including myself, is you'll score it. So you'll think, okay, did I win that round? And my rules of thumb for that is, am I landing more than I'm taking in the exchanges? And where's the positional reference points? Where's the highlights? Where would you say, okay, but he had what? Did I score any takedowns? Did I have top position? Did I land strikes from those positions? That kind of stuff. Because if I land a strong 1-2 on you, but you take me down and pin me the rest of the round, then what? Who won that round?
Yeah,
My strike was significant, but you got position. Again, it's depends on what you call it.
Yeah. How do you remain calm in training yourself or in fights if when grappling, say you've been caught, you're in a guillotine, someone's got their arm around your neck, or you're in an armbar? How do you remain calm trying to find an escape in that position?
So if you think about these, there's different things with that. But when it comes to grappling, if you treat it like a ladder, like, okay, they're at that rung of the ladder, they're about to get to the next one. So say if my arm is in like a standard S mount, my hands are bound together from listening. I know if my grip's going, it's going to get extended and ping open. I know if that happens, my arm's good chance it's going to be gone. So what I'm going to do is preempt that. Either going to break their grip and pummel, or I'm going to do something else. I'm going to transition. But what I'm basically doing there is preempting the next stage and getting a head start on that to then do the next thing. It's very methodical. It's very much, okay, stressed or no stress, I can gather what's happening. Obviously, there's a whole spectrum of things, but if you're in an armbar, you feel your arm getting extended, you've got a rough idea what's going to happen next. But you know how you can sort of counter certain things. And again, as long as you're intelligently defending the same way you would in a fight anyway, those rule of thumbs are still is how you do it anyway. It's not emotional. It's not, oh shit, I'm going to lose. It's, okay, I need to do this to stop that happening. I try to take away the bigger picture with it. And again, that's in the gym and composed sparring. It's hard to articulate in a fight because, again, in my MMA fights, there hasn't been a world of grappling. Like, debut should have held the mount, shouldn't have sat for the triangle, but when I sat for the triangle, should have finished the triangle. But again, that kind of stuff is more after the fact. It's all split second decision making. So it's very tricky to try to understand what that actually means and where things could go, but it's more probabilities percentage wise. If I stay in mount, I've got a high percentage of finishing it here. If I get a triangle from the mount, if I finish it, that's fight ending, it's done. But if I lose position, I'm in a bad position.
So it's always planning the next thing then.
Exactly that. Exactly that. So I know full well if we're sparring right now, I know if I'm getting in range to strike with you, you're in range to strike with me as well. So I need to preempt the shots. I know as well if we're in a range where you can touch me, you can also take me down. You can also engage on things. So it's preempting that as well. So it's just being aware of the risk you're getting into. So a very straightforward way to explain this. If we're starting our fight, me and you, we've got the standard 5x5, 25-meter octagon or 25 foot, whatever it is. There we are. Cool. Before the fight starts, how much of an advantage do I have over you? The answer is none. We've got the exact same opportunities to do everything. There's nothing being restricted. The possibility is literally endless. But if we start and I've got a front headlock position and I'm in, my percentage of things I can do to you versus what you can do to me are much less. I can finish off X, Y, and Z through this particular path where you can defend by doing X, Y, and Z. So again, we've restricted the probability in certain areas. So by establishing position, you can change your odds. And then you start getting these pathways and so on. Does that make sense? Again, it's a bit of a, it makes sense to me because I know what I mean, but does it make sense to you? Because I'm
Yeah, I
sort of
think yeah,
well with
I think
diarrhea.
we're saying is sort of like instead of getting into a bad position of thinking, oh, oh shit, I'm fucked. So spiraling from there, thinking, well, that sets me up for doing this next and then this next, if you know what I mean.
Exactly
If that's
that.
what you're trying to say.
Exactly that.
I think
How
saying
to unfuck yourself.
yeah. Mate, if we were in the octagon, you'd batter me.
I mean, we probably fight the same weight division, I'd imagine. Like, what would you compete at? What weight,
65 kilos.
Yeah, 5'66", so yeah, I'll be lanky, miserable. You probably, to be fair, a strong breeze would probably knock me out at that point.
You were saying earlier about self-sabotaging and stuff, but what are you feeling right before a fight? Are you someone do you get very nervous right before a fight?
So jiu-jitsu, petrified, like I'm about to get shot at dawn. MMA, not at all. It's a really weird one. So
I
I
always
think,
imagine that being the other way around because sort of obviously striking, I can sort of imagine the mindset is, well, I can get knocked out at any second. So you've sort of got to constantly be on edge. But like you say, jiu-jitsu, it's never a sudden thing. It's always a spiral of things, if you know what I mean.
definitely, because I feel with MMA, it's made as more of an event because that's what it is. You're in a separate room, you're doing your own thing, you're preparing for a walkout, you're getting told X, Y, and Z. It's a whole preparation thing. And again, the build up to that is taken way more seriously as well. Obviously, the day before the weigh-ins, you get the build up, you get the dates, all that sort of stuff. 8 weeks notice. It's a big event. So the whole thing gets, I don't know, categorized in your head and everything else. You can manage a lot better, I feel. With jiu-jitsu, I've kind of had it in that weird middle ground between it being something quite flippant that you do spontaneously, doesn't really matter, to something that is, defining and all competition experience. It's a fight, not a match, whatever you want to call it. So I think also with that, when you go to jiu-jitsu competitions, I'm not sure if you've been to one before, but I'll explain to people who haven't anyway. It's you're ground level, you're in like a sports hall normally, surrounded by people. There's matches always going on. They'll say Matt 1, Dan Lester against, I don't know, Joe Bloggs or Hugh Man, or whoever it is. Like blue purple belt, 76 kgs, crack on. Hugh Man,
Yeah.
like that. but again, it's pretty much, it's in your face. It's very loud. It's very anxiety inducing, at least for me anyway. So I just found that very, I don't know, I never felt I prepared properly. I think that's what it really was. Like I didn't treat it like a fight. If I treat it like a fight, like a camp for it as such, I think I would have been a lot more confident. But I think you earn that confidence.
Do you get more? Do you get more calm and more relaxed then because you've prepared for something? You're someone like that who needs to prepare for something to feel confident in doing it.
100%. I'm a huge proprietor behind earning your confidence. You don't get confident, you earn it. And if you know full well that, say in the gym, you finish your arm and guillotines 9 times out of 10 on everyone, you don't need to be told you're going to finish it. If you get one in competition, you think, you know what, he's done. He's might as well get that medal ready for me. You know exactly what's happening. And even then, I felt almost not the opposite as such, not having anything expected of me to do well in competition from blue belt onwards. I just enjoyed it so much more. A white belt, I don't know what I thought I was, like some sort of Commonwealth Olympic kind of standard I'd put on myself for some reason. Blue belt, I think, fuck it, they think we'll lose anyway. I'll jump flying triangles and look, I started landing them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, give a shit, nothing to lose.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful thing.
Yeah. Nah, I appreciate you coming on, mate, having to chat with me.
Absolute privilege, man. Thank you for having me on.
I feel like we went off quite a few different tangents, but I quite enjoy talking about the different philosophical sides to stuff.
Well, definitely. Again, this is why I love it so much because again, it's very ambiguous. You could do this sport, you could train for it in so many different ways, and if you think about it the same way, you're not going to develop. At least think about different ways you could think about it, and then decide after the fact, this is something how I think I should give it more attention than otherwise.
Yeah.
And again, you can always be willing to change, always willing to learn. If you don't stay coachable, you don't start developing.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. Different mindsets going into about it. Yeah. Yeah. No, I appreciate you coming on, man. Hopefully look forward to seeing you fight